So you've made the decision to grab reality by the horns. You're no longer going to be a victim of your circumstances or your environment. You are no longer an NPC, a bot. You're no longer a leaf being blown about by the wind that we call reality. You realize that your mind, your thoughts, your beliefs, and your emotions are the tools which are actively shaping your reality. Your entire experience of reality is but a projection of your mind, a reflection of the stories that you tell yourself about yourself and the world around you. Your beliefs, that which you believe to be true, is true, at least for you. And so you've decided to take advantage of that, the fact that you are a human being and you have this power at your disposal. And so you've decided to pay attention to the thoughts that you entertain, the emotions that you allow yourself to inhabit. And you're actively manifesting, you're actively aligning yourself energetically and emotionally with the reality that you wish to experience. Over here, I prioritize peace. I believe that if you prioritize manifesting a world of peace, an experience of peace, a life of peace, then everything will sort itself out. As Jesus says, be anxious for nothing. I can't tell you why things exist, guys. It's just like how I can't tell you why gravity exists, why it works. I can only tell you how it works. And that's not just because I dropped out of college and don't have a degree in physics. You can go and look at an interview with Neil deGrasse Tyson where he is talking about gravity. And in that conversation, he says they have no fucking idea why gravity works. What exactly is the reason why mass attracts mass? All we know is that it does. And so there are going to be questions that you will want to ask. You know, when you try and follow the laws of manifestation, attraction, and assumption to their logical conclusions, their logical and extreme conclusions, you might find yourself asking questions that you just don't know how to answer. You might find yourself approaching dead ends. But guys, that's a fucking waste of time. It simply is. For the same reason why engineers don't waste their time trying to figure out why gravity works the way it works. They just understand it. They have experimented with it enough to know how it works and how to manipulate it and how to use it to their advantage so that they can fly rocket ships and uh, build bridges and skyscrapers and etc. And that's what we're concerned about here. We're concerned about doing what works. This is not a religion. This is not a cult. There is no doctrine for you to believe, no dogma for you to believe. This is metaphysics. This is science. It's either it works or it doesn't. And I wouldn't be doing it if it didn't work. This is not religion. There is no wishing upon a star. There is no putting your faith in it, hoping that it works, and then wait until you die to see if you were right. There's none of that shit. In my previous video, I said it only takes 3 days for you to prove the law of attraction to yourself. And if you don't prove yourself to yourself that the law of attraction is true in those 3 days by using the techniques that I encourage you to use, please unsubscribe, don't come back, don't ever think about the law of attraction ever again. I wouldn't want you to waste your time. In fact, people who it doesn't work for, these are the people that I wish would give up on it. Because these are the same people who will get on the internet and try and discourage other people from doing it because they couldn't figure it out. And it's not hard to figure out. It's very easy. It's very simple. You just got to pay attention to your emotions, your thoughts, and your energy. You just have to exercise some degree of self-control and discipline in regards to the things, the thoughts that you pour your energy into. And it's something that you get better at over time. You go from using a baseball bat to using a surgeon's scalpel in regards to isolating negative thoughts and emotions, pinpointing ways in which you engage in those negative thoughts and emotions that aren't overt or obvious, and then extracting them. Anyway, let's get to the meats and potatoes of this video. I want to tell you how to supercharge your manifestations and to accelerate your preferred or desired reality being reflected in the physical, being experienced in the physical, in the 3D. So, how do you do that? First, you identify the reality of your choice that you wish to experience, right? Now, I keep it simple and say just focus on peace, because you focus on peace, all the pieces of your life must conform in such a way to encourage peace. So, your career is going to unfold in a way that encourages peace. Your financial situation, your relationship with your spouse, your relationship with your friends and family, your health, everything will start to align itself, conform in such a way to tell the story that you live a peaceful life. The external will start to reflect the internal, and thus you will experience peace. And it keeps things light and easy, and it makes things a surprise, but there is nothing wrong with having a specific reality that you would like to occupy and aligning energetically with that. For instance, if you want to live in a certain kind of home, if you want to drive a certain kind of car, if you want to have a certain kind of career, there is a way to do that without fucking it up and falling into the energetic state of desire, which is really a state of lack, but instead actually aligning, living from the end, living from the feeling, right? There's a way to actually do that, and thus you move closer to that imagined reality becoming your actual physical reality. But I like to keep things simple, and if you're a beginner, I think this is the best way to go about it because it's easy and you'll see results quickly. You're not trying to manifest anything specific, you're just trying to get more of what you put out into the world, right? So you assume a state of peace, you're just going to see your life becoming more and more peaceful in a plethora of ways. Things are going to happen where you're going to be like, hold up. Good shit is happening way more often than usual. The kind of good shit that doesn't usually happen is happening. Things are just working out. Things are just working out. And then once you've done that long enough and consistently enough, and your faith is now strong enough because you've proven it to yourself, then you can dive deep. It's kind of like a person who is overweight. If your goal is to be on the stage of Mr. fucking Olympia, then you're probably going to give up and get discouraged and fail. That's what it's like when someone who's brand new to manifestation tries to manifest $1 million. That's what it's like when someone who's brand new to manifestation tries to manifest a rock star career or a 10 out of 10 Victoria's Secret model that loves and adores you and looks at you with puppy dog eyes. Like you're trying to literally go from being a couch potato, a fat fuck that's never worked out a day in his life, to trying to compete on the stage with people who've been training in the gym for 10 years and are taking steroids. And today, this video is about the steroids, the metaphysical steroids that are going to help you to make progress very quickly. It's going to accelerate your manifestations. So, what would you do then? You don't tell the guy, the fat fuck, that he can never be on the Mr. Olympia stage. You say, hey, how about this, buddy? How about we see if we can just get you down to a healthy body weight? Right? How can we just get you down to a healthy body fat? Can we see if we can get you down to sub 15% body fat before we start thinking about the Mr. Olympia competition? For those of you who don't know, that's the competition that made Arnold Schwarzenegger famous. I'm a fitness person. I care about fitness, so I know about a little bit about that shit. Anyway, and so focusing on broad things like peace, neutrality, happiness, things of that nature. I think peace is the easiest one. It's interesting. Peace and neutrality are the two positive emotions, energetic states that I think are the easiest to just tap into. It's hard to make yourself feel happy. You can. There are little things you can do. You can go watch a funny show. You can smile. You can just walk around and smile and be more pleasant. You can do kind things for other people. Those are things that can make you feel happy. But I find that without doing anything, without going anywhere, without moving a single muscle, I can tap into a state of peace and or neutrality, with peace being literally the second highest frequency in terms of emotional, energetic energy, or I said that twice, energetic energy, fucking emotional vibration. I'll put up the chart once more for you guys to see. As you can see, peace is right beneath enlightenment. Anyway, this video is not about telling you what to manifest. Maybe you've been doing this for years, for days, for months, whatever. That's my 2 cents on how beginners should approach manifestation. Just focus on peace, and then once your faith is strong enough, once your mind or imagination is strong enough, your conviction is strong enough, then you can start to try and manifest more specific things, more grandiose things. But if you never move past focusing on peace, I mean, who's ever going to be die disappointed? I've already manifested a peaceful life, guys. I've already made it past the finish line. Like, my life is amazing. My life is perfect. It's just peace upon peace upon peace. It gets more peaceful every day, and that is being reflected in my YouTube reaction channel growing rapidly. It is being reflected in the relationship I have with my children and my wife. Like, I'll give you an example with my children. So right now we're uprooting a lot of the weeds. It's a bug. We're uprooting a lot of the energetic and spiritual weeds that I unconsciously sowed into my children. What do I mean by that? I used to use negative energy I used to have negative energy when interacting with my children. Feelings of frustration, of anger, of impatience. I used to punish my children, timeouts, and you know, timeouts. And I also used to create negative feelings in my children, because when you punish children, you generate negative feelings. And so, reaping what I've sown, my children are now throwing more tantrums. Why? Because I used to use negative energy, negative reinforcement, punishments to control them, to make them comply, to make them obey, to stop the screaming, the tantrums, the rolling around, the throwing hissy fits. But now I understand that you can have whatever you want in this life by approaching it from the energetic angle. In fact, that's the only way to get the best version of whatever it is that you want. And so, understanding that, and also wanting to train my children up in mastering being at peace and being neutral and not feeding into negative emotions, I've completely stopped punishing my children. Now, that's not just a spiritual decision. The psychology, the latest psychology in regards to children, it proves that punishment doesn't work. It's an incredibly ineffective. I'm not even just talking about spankings. I mean, no form of punishment is an effective means of training a child. You can and will get compliance depending on how you punish them, but if you want long-term change, if you want them to learn, if you want them to become a different person, the kind of person that doesn't invite you to punish them or make you feel like you need to punish them, well, then you have to take a different approach, not a surprise that approach that you're encouraged to take is perfectly in alignment with the principles of manifestation and law of assumption and all of that. It all, bro, once you get this shit, life becomes like easy, bro. Everything becomes easy once you understand this shit. Anyway, back to what I was saying about my children, because there is a lesson in this for you to take and apply to yourself. So, ripping up the weeds, the energetic weeds that I planted, I am now feeding into them positive energy. And when they are misbehaving, I use things like positive reinforcement. I try when they're behaving properly or when I see a break in the bad behavior. So they're throwing a tantrum and then they calm down for a little bit. I'm like, oh, that's very good. Good job, baby. You're such a good girl. I never, ever try to create feelings of guilt, shame, fear, anger, grief in my children. And so I will never call my child say you're being bad. I would never fucking say that shit to my kids. Right? I would say good girl when they're being good. But if I try communicating with them and I have an energetic state of peace and calm and tranquility and I'm communicating to them and they don't want to listen, the wasps are still here, guys. I haven't found your nest. I swore there was one on my pants. Anyway, they don't listen. They're throwing the tantrum, right? What do? I ignore. What you resist persists, remember? So me saying, stop throwing a tantrum, stop yelling, stop crying, behave, that you're resisting. It's going to make it worse. It's going to make it last longer. And it's also going to prolong the behavior. Why? Because at that age, children will be satisfied with just a reaction from you. Yeah, they're throwing a tantrum because they want this toy or they want this cookie or they want to watch this show on TV. But they'll also just take interaction and stimulation from you. And so yelling at them and all that, not only are you going to make the tantrum last longer, but you're encouraging more tantrums in the future. What you resist persists. So what do? You ignore. You don't feed into it. You don't feed into the tantrum. You ignore it. But now, because there is the absence of punishment, which they have become accustomed to being the thing that stops the tantrums it's just like they're Persian. Now they're like, oh, wow, we can throw tantrums and we don't get punished. Nobody yells at us. Nobody puts us in timed out. They're just being ignored. Children only throw tantrums because it gets results. People only get angry because they think anger is a tool to achieve what they want. That's why you will get angry at your friend, at your girlfriend, at some stranger, but you don't get angry at your boss, at your principal, at your mother or father, depending on how old you are and the relationship you have with your parents, right? Notice how you don't get angry with the cops when you get pulled over. Maybe if you're white, that's a joke, right? But you don't get angry with the cops. How is it that your brain, it's because in a split second, your subconscious identifies that the tool of anger is not effective or useful when interacting with your boss or with the cops. Because it will get you in more fucking shit, more problems. And so, children, when they throw tantrums, when anyone acts badly, when your girlfriend gives you the cold shoulder, anything you can think of that people do, all behavior is a means to an end. And so, once the children realize that throwing tantrums doesn't get them what they want, it doesn't get them any attention from us, guess what? The tantrums will stop. And we're already seeing that happen, but what I'm seeing happening first is a change in me. Because when I first started to apply this, I would get annoyed with my children throwing tantrums. Like I would feel the annoyed emotion in my body. Of course, practicing what I preach, I would immediately imagine a reality where my children are behaving properly. And then within a few seconds, the negative emotion would disappear. Now it's getting to the point where I feel nothing. Literally, the needle moves 0%. My daughter could literally be right beside me in my ear screaming bloody murder. It would give me, it would move the needle of my stress 0%. This is manifestation. This is how it works. I've been sowing peace. And so now I'm getting peace even on a biological level. Because that is biology, right? That's a biological response when you, as a parent, hear your children screaming for whatever reason. It sends the messages to your adrenal glands and it pumps adrenaline and you get wired and you get attentive and right. And so my actual physiological biology is being morphed and changed by the energies that I am focusing on, using, encouraging. And so now it's like I've noticed it's almost a little weird. I thought it would always be until the tantrum stopped that I would have to make the conscious decision not to feed into that energy of being annoyed, using my consciousness and focusing on the reality that I would rather, which is then being calm, living from the wish fulfilled. I thought that would be what it was going to be until the tantrums completely stop. Now it's at a, but I'm pleasantly surprised that that physiological reaction isn't even happening. And that's how all manifestation works, guys. Things shift gradually. And when you notice, now we're getting to the techniques that I'm going to share with you in this video. When you notice things happening that are moving you closer to the reality that you wish to occupy, the reality you're trying to manifest, you would like to see manifested in the physical. When you notice you making those steps and those movements, it builds your faith. It builds your conviction, your resolve to keep going. So let's get into it. How do you accelerate your manifestations? You must start to notice. Pay keen attention to when things start to shift and change in your experience of reality that are moving you closer to your desired reality, to the reality that you would like to see manifested. Notice them. So, what do I mean? Well, let's say you're broke and you're focusing on being at peace. That needs to be reflected in your financial situation. And so, money must appear. You must move towards financial freedom. Well, you go from being broke to having a job opportunity pop up. Go from being broke to somebody unexpectedly giving you a gift of money. You go from being broke to being inspired to sell some shit that's been laying around your house that you've had forever, but you, for some reason, you got the inspiration, I should throw this shit up on eBay. And then it sells quickly. And now you got money that you weren't expecting. When things like that happen, you need to stew in it. You need to, one, acknowledge it, make the conscious acknowledgement that that thing happened, and then be grateful for it. It's good to practice gratitude at all times. But when you notice, especially some good shit happened, some new shit happened, just really focus on that. Because you're actually using the same mechanism that creates the phenomena. When it rains, it pours. You ever notice that? When shit starts going bad for some people, when bad things happen to some people, most people, shit goes from bad to worse. They go from being in the frying pan to being in the fire. Why is that? Because that negative thing happened to them, the initial negative thing happened, and then they focus on it and they dwell on it. and they stew in it. And then, of course, the universe gives them more of what they're focusing on. It rewards them for the energetic state that they're in. And because they're literally, when you focus on bad shit, that is the equivalent of being grateful for bad shit. It's like you're practicing gratitude for negativity, for bad shit, for negative things. And so it brings more of it into your experience. You're just going to be using the same mechanism for good shit. Don't just blow it off. See, there's some of you who watched my previous video, the one before this, which was titled something. I don't fucking remember. But you can drop it down in the comment section below for people who might want to know. Oh yes, manifestation is not spirituality, it's science, I think is what the video was titled. Anyway, in that video, I invited you to conduct a 3-day experiment where you're going to suspend your skepticism as much as you need to in order to just do this shit, practice this exercise of, regardless of what happens in your life, you are going to maintain a state of peace. And if you want a more explanation on how to do that, go and watch my previous video, the video I just mentioned. I walk you through it. Well, some of you are committing to undertaking this experiment, and some of you are going to be better at this than others. Some of you are going to naturally be better manifestors, have a stronger control over your imagination. Some of you just will be. Do not fall for the trick, the temptation. No one's really trying to trick you, but you're such a negative fuck that some good shit might actually happen, like some real obvious shit might actually happen on the first day of you practicing this, and you're going to be tempted to brush it off. Oh, it's just a coincidence. Rationalize it away. No. Don told me that if I did this shit would happen, but I'm just looking into it too much. You know, I'm thinking about it too much. Don't do that. Do the opposite. Take it as verification that you're energetically shifting and aligning with the reality you actually want to experience. And when these things happen, just as the negative unconscious NPC bot focuses on the negative shit, stews in it, and then invites the pouring aspect of the rain, you're going to stew in this good shit. Stew in this good shit. Now, don't tell anybody about the manifestation aspect of it. In fact, don't talk to people about this, guys. Don't tell people what you're trying to manifest. You don't want people to throw cold water on this shit. And you don't need, it actually makes you a weaker manifester when you tell people about this who aren't on the same wavelength. Now, if you talk to a person like me, if you talk to people who are also aware of that this is how the universe works and are actively practicing it, it will do the opposite. It will strengthen you, right? Fellowshipping with people who are of a like mind, right? It will amplify things. It will encourage you. But if you try to introduce this shit to somebody that doesn't fucking get it, or even worse, might mock it, that can have the opposite effect and weaken your conviction, weaken your resolve. So don't tell anyone you're doing it. You can start evangelizing, let's say. That is, you have a friend, you see he's going through life, he's having a hard time, you're fucking killing it, you're manifesting an amazing life, and you feel bad for him, and so you try to put him on game. But wait till your resolve, your conviction, your faith is cemented and properly rooted. Be grateful. Practice gratitude. Stew in it. Anytime anything good happens that is moving you closer to your wish fulfilled, be grateful for it. Stew in it. Focus on it. Think about it. Revisit it. Squeeze all the gratitude, pause, crazy hand movement there. Squeeze all the gratitude you can out of that event. And then the second thing, of course, is to not focus on negativity. Now, of course, that's a fundamental principle. You've heard me say it many times already, but it requires or deserves repetition. Why? Because when you do these two things together, that's your steroids. Those are your spiritual steroids, man. When you can become elite at not feeding into negativity, I've already matured past feeding into overt, like glaring red flags. This is negative. This is negative. That shit, you'll figure that out within a couple months. You'll get past that within a couple months. Maybe even faster. Maybe you're a better, maybe you're more spiritually aligned than I am. If you can do that and practice gratitude, bro, you'll be a fucking millionaire in no time, or whatever it is that you want. Whatever the universe has in store for the enlightened version of you that is so dialed in with not putting anything into negativity and being grateful for the blessings, being grateful for the shifts. You combine those two things, bro, it's gonna be like steroids for your manifestations. All right, guys, I hope that helps.